Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the afternoon session of the Year of the Man Summit, the third year in a row that we are running this free men's mental health summit specifically to help men get access to tools and resources that they would not usually have. So this session, we have Steve. Is it Steve Hage?
Yeah.
Okay, we have Steve Hage. Sorry, every time I look at your last name, I'm like, I don't want to pronounce this wrong. We have Steve Hage. Steve is a pastor. He's been happily married for 43 years to his beautiful wife, Daniele. He's ministered in areas of youth ministry, evangelism, as well as speaking at churches, conferences, and to professional sports teams throughout the nation for the past 49 years. He's traveled globally. He spoke to teams. He spoke to businessmen. Steve has so much wisdom under his belt and life experience. And the other day he came on a live and gave us some tips about marriage. But today what he's going to present to us is the 4 pillars that men need to be successful. And I might have gotten that title wrong, but that is, sorry, Steve, what was the actual wording for that?
4 mindsets men need to win in life.
To win in life, exactly. So he's going to present to us the 4 mindsets men need to win in life. And like a pastor, he's going to go off the cuff. There are no slides for this one, but you better be prepared to take notes because he has so many stories and similes that you are going to just grasp. So anyway, I'm going to hand it over to Steve so I stop rambling. Take it away, Steve.
All right. Thanks, Elise, so much. Welcome, gentlemen. I want to tell you how much I appreciate you making an investment in your own future. So many of us live 2-dimensional, and how many of you know that you're a 3-dimensional person? You're not just a soul and a body, but you have a spirit, and your spirit is your rudder. Yes, I am a pastor, but I'm not a religious man, as you will discover shortly. So you don't have to brace yourself for shame or condemnation or anything like that. This is just information that is the result of accumulation of time on the planet. And so I'm sure there are a lot more than 4 mindsets that men need to win. But how many of you know that men do not go from loss to loss to loss? They go from win to win to win. So men naturally gravitate toward wins. We are not about losing. When we're thinking about a girl to date, we'll assess if we can win with this chick, if she's above our pay grade, if she's out of our league, some guys say. I actually don't think any women are out of anybody's league. It's just the way you assess and appraise yourself. But anyway, so let me just kind of talk about some of the things I've written down here. And again, I'm not trying to take the tape of my life and stick it in your recorder and push play. I'm just going to try to bring some revelation to what I think I've discovered after being on the planet almost 67 years and being married almost 44 to the same person. I know lots of guys been married 44 years, but there's got like 4 wives, I'm with the same one. And you'll hear from her later on today. So let me just say this. Progress is a process. And again, these are what I'm going to talk about today are conclusions that I've arrived at after years of navigating life, love, purpose, pain, betrayal, disappointment, discouragement, pushing back on wanting to quit my life, quit my marriage, quit on myself, quit on my calling. There's always forces pushing back on you, and you have to understand that in order to win, you got to overcome. And there's nothing to overcome. There's no need to overcome if there isn't something pushing against or pushing back on what you're carrying in your life. So I'm just going to make a couple bullet points here, but losses do not mean you're a loser. Just because you've had experiences that don't produce the desired result doesn't mean that you can't go in the locker room and make halftime adjustments. Everybody has had losses in their life. And I mean, even God had losses. He made Adam and Eve and he lost them. You know, Jesus had to pick 12 guys and one of them was Judas. I mean, people have losses in their life. That doesn't mean that you're categorically a loser. You cannot operate in a way to win if you have a mindset that says, I am destined to lose. So just because some things have gone out of your life and you've experienced loss does not mean that you are a loser. So our relationship to ourselves and to our own needs has a lot to do with us winning at life. So your relationship to yourself, your relationship, how you act, react, and interact with your own needs, how you assess yourself, what do you experience when you look at yourself? That has a lot to do with you winning at life, the conclusions that you draw about yourself. And are you buying into and aligning yourself with things that are untrue about you? So let me just say a couple things. You've got to get to the place where you're not assuming things concerning your winning, but you are knowing things. Men live their lives and operate from what they know. We operate from what we know. Let me just say it like this. You flow from what you know. So whatever your flow is whatever your know is. And so whatever you're knowing about yourself is how you are operating in your life. So if you don't know better, well, let me say it like this. You'll do better when you know better. So when you get stuck, that's an indicator that you don't know what's needed to get unstuck. So the reason why men get stuck, and I'll get to the 4 things in a minute, is we get stuck living the same year after year. We're making the same money year after year. We have chronic issues with the same chick year after year. We're trying to lose the same 5 pounds year after year. We're trying to stop smoking for 5 years, stop drinking for 5. Stop being negative on ourselves. We're stuck. Everybody has problems, but problems are not supposed to be chronic problems. So we don't know because we won't grow. So the reason why you get unstuck is you know how to get unstuck, but the way that you come into the place of knowing is you have to come to the place of growing. So let me just say this statement. You'll never be delivered out of your stuck situation. You're not going to get delivered out of it. You got to grow out of it. You got to stop dragging yesterday's level into your today. We got to stop taking the person we used to be and photoshopping that into the person that we're going to be. So we've got to grow out of it. We've got to stop dragging the level from 10 years ago into today and the next 10 years. We've got to stop taking who we used to be into who we're going to be. And I think that's why we're here today, is because we want to grow so we can know, so we can flow, so we can win. So as you grow, you will know. Let me make another statement. Clarity precedes empowerment. So us as men we're never going to have the juice to get to the finish line. We're never going to have the impetus to get the wins that we want in our life until we get clear. And clarity, you have to grow into clarity. When you know, it's because you're clear. And then when you're clear, you have empowerment. What's the impetus that busts you through the barriers? I always tell men, listen, you got to live with walls, but you can't live with ceilings. You got to live with boundaries, man. You can't just be horizontally all over the place if you want to have vertical elevation, but you got to get clarity. We won't have the power to break free and to break through until we get clear. Hence this communication today. All I want to do is give you some tools, have some conversation, bring some revelation so that you can get out of your situation and quit having so much doggone perspiration. Come on, man. So I want to bring clarity to our lives as men so that the result will be empowerment and an impetus for our journey, so we can go from win to win to win to win, not loss to loss to loss to loss. We don't want to be losers, man. And you got to choose to win or choose to lose. And so the choice is yours. So let me give you the 4 things that I believe I have come up with, and these are new, man. I'm going to be 67 years old this year. I'm 66 currently. And these 4 things I've only been operating in my own life for about 3 years. And I'm telling you, it's a game changer for me. Now, you don't have to agree with everything. You don't have to say that that's right. It might not be right for you, but as it relates to me and my relationship to my own needs and my own journey and my own success and the way things are, this is the template from which I operate from. This is the filter that I live my life through. And I've made lots of mistakes. I've got things in my life that I've grown from that could appear regrettable, but this is what I pretty much landed on. So you guys can get it by situation or you can get it by revelation. I mean, why do you need to go through it if I went through it? And I'll just tell you how to go around it so you don't have to go through it to get to it. Yeah, I mean, we want to win. So take it from me. This is what the absence of these things is what caused me to struggle. So I was in the bank the other day. I was telling Elise this the other day, and the lady taking my deposit. Thank God I wasn't making a withdrawal that time, but I was making a deposit. And she said, hey, how's it going, Steve? How's it going? And I thought for a minute, I said, nothing's wrong. Nothing is wrong. She said, what? I said, it hadn't always been like that, but it's been like that for a while. Nothing's wrong. Nothing's wrong in my marriage. Nothing's wrong in my health. Nothing's wrong with my money. Nothing's wrong with my kids. Nothing's wrong with my grandkids. Nothing's wrong in my relationships. I mean, I've got a vertical connection, but it's having a horizontal reflection. Nothing's wrong. And I realized that nothing wrong, winning in life, is the result of these 4 things that I'm going to drop on you now. Okay, ready? Numero uno. Number 1, you got to do this. This is first and foremost. If you don't do the other 3, do this one. You must preserve your gift. Now, let me break that down. You got to preserve your gift. This is what I believe. I'm a Christian. I walk with the Lord. I'm a pastor for almost 50 years. And so I'm a God guy. And I believe that in each and every person, but let's just talk about men. I believe that in each and every person, there is what I call a God deposit. When you were manufactured by God, look, you came through your parents, but you came from God. And God don't make nothing without a purpose. God doesn't manufacture anything just for the sake of existing. There's a purpose in your existence. There is a God deposit that is your gift. God put something on the inside of you guys, every single one of you. Darren, Chris, Raphael, Abraham, Adrian, Andre, Rob, you guys, God put something on the inside of you. Whether you align with it, acknowledge it, recognize it, that's on you. I'm telling you, it's there. And you got to preserve it, because that's the thing that when you operate in gives you wins. If you're just all over, if you're not clear about, there's 2 great days in your life. 1, when you're born. 2, when you figure out why. Okay, so you got to know why you're here, man. You're not just having Big Mac attacks and consuming and getting laid and getting and your team winning and playing fantasy football. Like, you got to have a purpose in order to get wins. Otherwise, there's nothing by which to measure. Okay, so you got to figure this out. And if you go to the VIP thing after, I'll talk to you about how to discover your purpose. But I don't have time to get into describing what is the pathway to purpose. But you got to figure out your purpose, and you got to preserve it. So this is what I ask myself in life, and I want to drop this on you guys. Ask this question: how is this decision that I'm about to make going to affect my gift? I've been married 43 years. You know how many times I wanted to like bounce out of this thing in 43 years? Because women are crazy, man. Sorry, Elise. Women don't get us sometimes. Sometimes it's easier to quit than to go on. I wrote this one time, that quitting always promises you relief. That's why you quit. You're going to get relief. But it only produces regret, from which there is no relief. So how is this decision to quit? How's this decision to get a divorce? How's this decision to break up? How's this decision to have unprotected sex? How's this decision to, vape today? How's this decision to not go to work? How is this decision going to affect my gift? Listen, my gift is the door of my life swings on the hinges of my gift operating. Nothing works if my gift ain't working. And I'm responsible to preserve my God deposit, which is to serve people, to preach the Bible, to challenge men, to communicate to professional sports teams. I was with the Los Angeles Lakers for 12 years, all through their championship years. But that was what I was born to do. Anything, and there's always forces trying to distract, disrupt, create a fragmented focus, so I have a diminished impetus. And so you got to make a decision. You got to ask the question before you make the decision. How is this going to affect my gift? How does this relationship, first this decision, now how does this relationship affect my gift? Are the people that I'm with, am I better after I leave them, or am I worse? Am I strengthened? Am I fortified? Am I inspired? Am I focused? Am I challenged after, or am I worse after? Because everything that you do has a direct relationship to that gift being preserved or being diminished. My actions, my reactions, and my interactions. Listen, road rage is not going to facilitate me having authority in people's lives. So I got to decide, let the idiot drive crazy. People's issues, that I'll just give them some tissues for their issues. They got dramas in their pajamas. There's nothing I can do about that. I can't let somebody else's choices diminish my gift operating at full potential, or I'm never going to win. I'm not going to win. So how does this relationship with this girl? How does this relationship with my parents? How does this unforgiveness? How does this bitterness? All of that is affecting your gift, man. And you got to preserve it. You got to keep the stuff out that's trying to bring that thing down. Is this adding or taking away from the potency of my purpose? I'll never experience gratification, and I'll never experience satisfaction fully without operating in my gift and my purpose. It's not going to happen, man. Now, you guys can choose to live your own lives. I mean, I'm not trying to tell you what to do. I'm not trying to control anybody. I'm just telling you my experience. And these are the conclusions that I'm drawn. I'm not trying to convert anybody. I'm not trying to minimize your pain. I'm not trying to derail your experiences. But I'm telling you, you got a gift and you better preserve it. And you can't be cavalier about it. You got to be focused front with this thing. There ain't nothing back there for you. You can't use your faith to believe God for a better past. You got to use your faith for your future, man. You can't go back in a time machine and fix anything. So it's not what happens to you. It's the lie that comes through the door of what happens to you that you can't get over. So let's just keep rolling forward. You've got to live on purpose to win. Again, the door of your life swings on the hinges of you having a preserved gift. Number two, you got to divorce yourself from toxic triggers. Man, there's no people, places, or things that are allowed in my proximity that are going to trigger me toward negativity. Not going to happen. The number one most common thing among millionaires is that they disallow negative people to be in their environment and in their proximity. So I'm not just talking about financial prosperity. I'm talking about a prospering mind, prospering will, prospering in your emotions, prospering in your relationship. Yes, prospering in your money, but you got to be disciplined in your disposition to guard your gate. And your gate is whatever you open and let things in. And if you let toxic triggers in, you're going to have toxicity in your disposition. See, what you got to guard your gate. And what I mean by that is, what thoughts are you allowing to run free in your head? Something triggers you, man. And then you go off into this emotional flooding. You go off into this victim narrative. You go off into the I can't, I'm not enough. You go into this thing in your head. And so let me say something about that. Thoughts precede feelings, but you detect feelings first. So feelings are the fruit of thought, but you don't recognize the thought, you feel the feeling generally first. So you're having this feeling of scarcity, this feeling of loss, this feeling of fear, this feeling of something bad's going to happen, this feeling of whatever. You're having emotions. You're going to break up with me. It ain't going to work out. You have whatever feelings you're having. Those feelings are the fruit of a thought that you're thinking that you're unaware of. So we've got to discipline our disposition in a way that we have this relationship to our feelings. Our feelings need to alert us to investigate our thoughts. So when you're having a feeling, don't allow that feeling to lead. Let me say this statement. Feelings are horrible leaders. Emotions are horrible leaders. Emotions, we got to treat them like kids. You don't put them in the trunk, but you don't let them drive either. Okay? There's feelings are what God gave us to experience the world with, not for us to be led by. We walk by faith. We walk by belief. We walk by confidence. We don't walk by how I feel about something. We walk by what I believe about something. And then how you believe will translate into how you behave. You don't behave your way into believing. You believe your way into behaving. If I believe I'm going to win, I'll behave like a winner. Okay, let me keep going. So write this down if you're taking notes. This is huge. I wish I would have learned this earlier. Any thought that I'm having that is producing a negative feeling inside of me about me or a situation is a lie. Any thought that produces negative emotions is a lie. And so you got to be ready with the truth in the batter's box, warming up. You got to be ready with the truth about you to replace the lie. When the lie comes and the negative feeling comes, you got to be ready to investigate and replace it with something positive, with the truth about you. See, and here's the other thing. You can't, contrary maybe to how some men think about themselves, you got to be easy on yourself. Being hard on yourself will never produce elevation or change. These are toxic triggers. You can't yell at yourself, get down on yourself. Hey, I'm an idiot. Hey, see, you did it again. Hey, you keep replicating regrets. Hey, knock it off. No, you got to be easy on yourself in order to change or elevate. Elevation is not the result of negative emotions being your tutor. Truth has got to be your tutor. I've been saying this over my life for a long time. There ain't no shame in my game. Take your shame down the road, man. And what does shame say? Shame says, hey, guess what, Raphael, you're not enough. You ain't never going to get enough. And God ain't enough. So you might as well take matters into your own hands. But how many of you know that your own hands are have produced the life that you're living and the regrets that are in your life? So you don't go to the one who produces the regrets to remedy the regrets. You got to go higher. You don't go to the person who made the mess to undo the mess. You got to go up. You got to go higher. You got to elevate out of it, man. You got to grow out of it. If you're going to make a difference, you got to be different. Now, I'm not mad at where you are. Start with where you are, but don't stay where you are. Okay? So, you've got to lose this I'm not enough conversation, because that is a toxic narrative. So there's all kinds of things that trigger you into negative mindsets. It's time to get rid of them. The people, the places, and the things, you got to amputate them, baby. Not negotiate with them, not medicate them, amputate them. So, well, what about my past? What about it? Nobody was raised right, man. Nobody has a perfect past. Nobody doesn't have any kind of father fractures. Everybody's got dramas that they're dealing with. Divorce yourself from the toxins that are released into your disposition because you attach your thoughts and your alignment with lies about you. Here's what's true about you. I say this over my life every day. You could say it or not say it. This is what I do. I always say, Steve, you're deeply loved by God. Steve, you're highly favored. I'm expecting God to do some supernatural configuration of my situation. You are richly blessed. And I belong to God. I say that over my life all the time. Something negative happens. Wait a minute, man. You're deeply loved. You're highly favored. You're richly blessed. You're a child of God. Boom. Take that negativity. I'm not letting that negativity crowd out my call. Number 3. And now this is going to take some growing and some maturity in your life. Again, I didn't start applying this or discovering this till 3 years ago. 63 years old, finally figuring it out. I'm about to get a Medicare card in my wallet, and I'm just figuring out how to win. But anyway, you have to create, number 3, you have to create an arrangement with yourself and others that produces freedom in your life. You have to create an arrangement. If you want to win, you don't do it from solical incarceration, where you're locked up, chained up, bound up toe up from the flow up because you need a checkup from the neck up or something, whatever. You can't live your life until you're free. And I want to give you permission today, guys. You're free to win. You're free to prosper. You're not just free from stuff, you're free to stuff. You're free from everything that's been holding you back, and you're free to live your dream. You're free to go after what you want, what you believe is yours. You're free to go get it, man. You're free to go put your hands on it and put it in your pocket and run your race with wins. You're free from losing. You're free from regret. You're free from what they said about you. You're free what they did to you and what you did to yourself. You're free. You got to create an arrangement with yourself and others that produce freedom. I am not going to be in relationships that keep chaining me to my past. They keep chaining me to my regrets. They keep reminding me and keep throwing me in shame, in the shame prison. It's not happening. I got to get freedom from my past, from my pain, from my problems. And again, trouble is unavoidable, but suffering is optional. You don't have to suffer if you'll just change the way that you have an arrangement with yourself. Extract the gift out of the trouble and get on with it, man. There's wins to be had in front of you. So it's a great thing to be able to give yourself and to give others the gift of freedom. The reason why me and Daniele have a successful relationship after all of these years is that we have learned how to give each other the gift of freedom. And my son, who's on the call, Christian, he goes, what do you guys have, an open relationship? You have like a what do you call those things, an open marriage or something? You give each other the gift of freedom. I go, are you crazy? I can't handle one woman. I'm not going to try to get more. But I'm talking about the freedom to live out your gift, to live out your destiny, to live out your purpose. I'm not going to get in the way. I'm not going to get into the way. I'm not getting in the way. I'm giving Daniele freedom to flow in whatever God deposit she is carrying in her life. And the people in my life, I got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people in my life. What I love doing is giving them the gift of freedom. And I will not be in a relationship that's trying to control me, incarcerate me, tell me how to think, paint me in a corner. I'm not doing it. I love myself too much. Amen. You can't win when you're in somebody else's control, when someone else has control of your soul. And what's your soul? Let's sidebar for a minute. Your soul is your mind, what you think, the thoughts that you think, your will, the want to in your life, and your emotions. Your mind, your thoughts, your will, your want to, your emotions, how you feel. Those things have to be healthy in order for you to win in life. They can't be imprisoned. They can't be living on bread and water. You got to take care of your soul, and and whatever you water grows, and you got to water your spirit. So we got to get rid of anything that is any arrangement that is limiting our life. Let me say this. Human beings are the only part of creation that voluntarily limit themselves. I promise you that a hippopotamus isn't having body image issues. Like, oh man, look how, I promise the king of the jungle, a lion, isn't feeling a spirit of rejection when an antelope runs away from him. Listen, human beings are the only ones who voluntarily tell themselves they can't. We can't be those kind of men, guys. You can't have mental health and win in life if you're constantly in a deprivation conversation with yourself. You got to go after all that God has for you. And so what you have to understand is when you get into a deprivation conversation, I'm almost done. Deprivation conversations will put you in the proximity of bad decisions. When you're coming from a place of, I don't have it, I can't get it, I need this to be satisfied, to be whole, and you're living your life as if something's missing out of your life, then you're going to go outside of what's wise to get that satisfied. Can't do it. Your excuses cannot be bigger than your dreams. We got to get free in our mind, in our will, in our emotions in order to get wins. Listen, I will not participate in anything that steals or limits my freedom. Now, let me say this last thing about that. I'm not talking about selfishness. I'm not saying, hey, you got a green light to be selfish. Selfishness is the inauguration of the deterioration of the connection of any relationship. You introduce selfishness into a relationship, it starts decomposing right before your very eyes. I'm not telling you to create an arrangement that gives you permission to be the center of the freaking universe. I'm telling you to set the conditions to win in every area of your life. And some of us got to take people with us, man. I got kids and grandkids. I don't want to just be in a vacuum and in a bubble getting wins on my own. I cannot be a selfish man. Again, selfishness is the inauguration of the deterioration of any connection. When you introduce selfishness, you're going to derail that thing, man. Your train is jumping the track. You have to stay compassionate, empathetic, servant-hearted, and focused. You got it? Okay. Yeah. Let me move on to the fourth thing because I only got 10 minutes left. The fourth thing that you got to have to win is you must be committed to your own personal happiness. My wife, who's brilliant, she's way more brilliant than me. You'll hear from her shortly. She's so smart, but she always says that men are not made by God to make women happy. They're made by God to make women happier. And let me just say this about you. Happiness has got to be something you're committed to on a personal level. You have to be committed. If you're not happy, your world doesn't work. If you're not happy, you're not getting wins. Now, let me just say this about happy. Happy is not a pursuit. I know the Declaration of Independence tells you that you have permission to pursue happiness, but happiness is not a pursuit, it's a fruit. You know, you ask people like, you know, you're having a kid and, you know, what kind of kids do you want? I just want to raise a happy kid. That's the stupidest thing I ever heard. How do you raise a happy kid? Happiness is not a pursuit. It's a fruit. It's a fruit of what? What's the parent of happiness? Purpose. So getting back to point number one, in order to be happy, you got to preserve your gift, because people that don't have purpose are not happy people. You can't just pursue happy. You have to pursue purpose. Raise kids on purpose, not kids to be happy. Raise kids to be on purpose and they'll be happy. Okay, so purpose redeems us from our pain. It sets the conditions so that you can hit as a man your sweet spot. When you're happy, you hit your sweet spot. You may not even know how you got there, but you'll get there because you are on purpose, and then you're happy, and then you're in your sweet spot. You're not dependent upon exterior configuration, but you're having an internal faculty that actively empowers you to continually bear up no matter how difficult it is, and resist weariness and defeat, and get on purpose and get the gift operating and get freaking happy. Happy people live on purpose. There's a Bible verse that says, guard your heart. Because everything that's in your life, every issue in your life has come out of everything that you've allowed to operate in your heart. So in conclusion, let me say this. Every man that's hearing my voice and that will hear my voice, you were manufactured to win. You're not manufactured to lose. If you're not winning, go back to being a man. Just because you're a male doesn't mean you're a man. A man takes responsibility for his life and the life that of those that he's responsible for. Males just have plumbing. Men are responsible. And so as a responsible man, I want to tell you, you are categorically designed and manufactured to win. There's nothing in you that can coexist with chronic losing, because you're outside of who you're supposed to be. Let's gravitate toward people, places, and things that give us wins. Winning is simple, but it's not always easy. So here it is. Make a covenant with yourself today. Make a commitment with yourself today. Preserve your gift. Divorce yourself from toxic triggers. Create arrangements that result in freedom, and be committed to your own personal happiness. Now go win. Thanks for having me. Peace. I'm out.
Wow, guys. Steve,
Thank you.
claps for
Thank
Steve.
you.
That was amazing. I loved every
Thank
single
you.
second of that. I took so many notes.
Okay.
And guys, once again, for anybody who has questions, who wants to speak more about Steve, he said that in the back end, he would teach us how to go through purpose. So that's exactly where we're going to go to now. Purchase the VIP link. You guys do not want to miss this. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go into the VIP room. He's going to give us some more mic drop moments, answer some questions. And then his wife is going to come on right after that at 2 p.m. So we're going to go ahead now. We're going to go on the VIP link, and I will see you guys in there. See you when they're seeing.
Give me 2 minutes. Give me 2 minutes, because I got a 66-year-old bladder. Be right back.
Of course. Yeah. Log in at the VIP link, and I'll see you there.
Okay. See you in a minute.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.